Hi, I'm E.D. Lewis, and welcome back to my channel, E.D. Lewis Reviews. Before we get started, please hit that subscribe button and also hit that like and comment down below. All information about my book and what this video is about, as well as where you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and so on and so forth, is all down below in the description. So, let's get started. I hope everyone's doing well today, and is still doing safe. Some places are starting to open up over the past few days, and are going to continue to open up for the next few days. Hopefully, that all goes well with no backlashes. Hopefully, it's not too soon. So, anyway, today we got a little bit of rain. I woke up to rain and hail. And, thunderstorm and hail going on, and so that was fun. But to me, that's just good sleeping weather, so, it doesn't bother me. So today, I'm going to be, I already scheduled this review for today. I would have done it tomorrow, but I'm going to be busy with other things. So, today's review is going to be over another H.P. Lovecraft story. And this one I actually read for half a Waynathon. It was the second challenge, read a book, or in this case I read a short story and watched the film adaptation. So we're going to be doing another H.P. Lovecraft, as I've already said, and I've shown this book several times over. And of course, this is the best of H.P. Lovecraft, blood-curdling tales of horror and the macabre, with an introduction by Robert Bloch. So, the story you can find in lots of different collections that are H.P. Lovecraft. There's tons of them out there, so you can find it in several. This one's just the one I have, with fantastic artwork all around the book, even on the spine. And you can also probably find the story online to read, and also, if you don't want to read and you want to listen to it, you can listen to it on audio form. Here on YouTube, there's lots of uploads of it, as there are many H.P. Lovecraft stories. And then there's also, since this is, I'm going to do a review over the story and the film adaptation, the Dunwich Horror. Now, I don't know how it's really supposed to be pronounced. I've heard people pronounce it Dunwich, like it's spelled, but I've also heard it pronounced Dunwich. Somewhere I think I heard that it's supposed to be pronounced Dunwich and not Dunwich, but I have no idea. So I always call it Dunwich. So if you know how it's really supposed to be pronounced, then, let me know. So, anyway, getting to our review, we'll talk about the short story first. I have my notes right before me. I actually wrote these yesterday. The Dunwich Horror is by H.P. Lovecraft. It is gothic horror and also science fiction. It's horror, science fiction, cosmic horror, gothic fiction, which I know I said. And it was published in 1929. It takes place mostly in 1928, the year before it was published. Now, this one is considered to be an essential story in the Cthulhu mythos. I have not read every H.P. Lovecraft story, and I have definitely not read every story in the Cthulhu mythos, but I have read this one, and so I reread it for half a Waynathon last week. So, the story tells of a young man with goatish looks named Wilbur Whately, who has an intense fear of dogs and is only seen with clothes that are tightly buttoned up, covering most of his body. So only like his hands and his head are ever seen, and maybe his neck. Wilbur's born in the village of Dunwich, which is not too far away from Arkham, another one of H.P. Lovecraft's, famous locales that he made up in New England, into the Whately family to an albino woman named Lavinia, and an unknown father, which it is suggested in the story that it's a being from another world, and I'm not going to spoil too much about that for you. Before we go on, I do want to read a little bit out of here for you, so you'll understand a little more about Dunwich itself. So, I did dog ear it, and I know that's terrible, and I hate doing that too, but... Yeah. So this is a little bit about the town itself. They have come from a race by themselves with a well-defined mental and physical stigmata of degeneracy and inbreeding. The average of their intelligence is woefully low, whilst their annals reek of overt viciousness and of half-hidden murders, incests, and deeds of almost unnameable violence and perversity. The old gentry representing the 2 or 3 armigerous, I'm not really sure how to pronounce the word off the top of my head, families which came from Salem in 1692 have kept somewhat above the general level of decay, though many branches are sunk into the sordid populace so deeply that only their names remain as a key to the origin of their disgrace. It sounds like such a lovely place, Dunwich. So, and I love how H.P. Lovecraft writes, and it's so reminiscent of Edgar Allan Poe. So let's see, where did I leave off? Being from another realm, his father. He is raised by his mother and grandfather in an old farmhouse. Old Whately, his grandfather, begins construction on the house, renovating it. You know, he boards up windows and he starts adding on rooms and stuff to the upper levels and just starts expanding the house for some mysterious reason. Adding windows as to the play, and onto the place, starting adding windows. I'm thinking out loud. As well as continuously buying livestock, though his number of livestock never increases, and the animals seem to suffer from open wounds and loss of blood, which all of the townsfolk are just absolutely terrified, and they think the Whateleys are so strange, so weird. But, and this just adds to the fear. Old Whately teaches Wilbur in the ways of witchcraft using an imperfect and incomplete translated copy of the Necronomicon, another one of H.P. Lovecraft's things that reoccurs in the story, used as a literary plot device that he created. The grandfather dies, but tells him what he should do when the time is right, using a particular page of the Necronomicon and to continue their strange activities with the house. Excuse me. Later, his mother disappears, which leaves, of course, Wilbur all by himself, and he becomes obsessed with a complete copy of the Necronomicon in Miskatonic University, so much so that Dr. Henry Armitage begins to investigate the Whateleys. Now, this page a certain page he's supposed to use when the time is right, is actually missing from his grandfather's copy of the Necronomicon, so that's why he becomes obsessed with this copy that's at the library. One night, when a strange, deformed creature is found dead in the library at the university, an unseen force terrorizes the village of Dunwich. And that's all I'm going to say on that, because I don't want to give too much away. There were a little bit of spoilers, but there's still a lot I left out and a lot to come in the story. So, the mystery of the Dunwich Horror. So, sorry, I'm trying to open my tablet. Okay. So anyway, now we're going to talk about the movie. So this is the Dunwich Horror film, and there's at least a couple film versions of it. This is the only one I've seen, and it was released in 1970, starring Dean Stockwell and Sandra Dee. And the ironic thing is, I guess in a later version that aired on Sci-Fi, actually starred Dean Stockwell as well, but he was playing a different part. In this one, he plays Wilbur Whately, and in that version, I guess he plays Dr. Armitage. It's directed by Daniel Holler, and executive producer is Roger Corman, which this movie, I could have easily seen it directed by Roger Corman, though. Because it just seems like something he would have done. The film follows an obsessed young man named Wilbur Whately, just like in the story, who looks much more human than he does in the source material, as he romances a young student from Miskatonic University named Nancy Wagner, who's played by Sandra Dee. He lives with his grandfather in an old house in the country, which the house to me seems a lot bigger, and they don't add on to it and stuff, so that's completely cut from the story. And is well taught in the rituals of his and his grandfather's beliefs. In this story, in this version of the story, Armitage is much more impressed. He's not as scared of Wilbur. He's still terrified of him, but he finds him very interesting and very impressive, as opposed to in the story. And Wilbur is much more charismatic in the this movie than he is in the source material. And of course, there is no Nancy character. That was added. I think that was added to probably get young audiences, like teenagers and stuff, interested in seeing the movie and stuff. And there's a little bit of psychedelicness going on with the strange unseen force that is terrorizing the town of Dunwich in the movie. They use a little bit of the psychedelic color changes and stuff that they flash over sets and people and stuff. So it's kind of bizarre, but it gives a nice effect. Let's see, what else do I have in my notes? Oh, well, Dr. Armitage also even dines with him and Nancy in the town of Arkham, so... But it keeps the locations mostly the same. I did want to mention that the film does focus one of its themes on sexual awakening, especially for the character of Nancy, and that's done through the character of Wilbur and stuff. So he kind of introduces her into more of a sensual way of life than she's used to. And of course, that's not touched upon in the story at all. But all in all, I thought it was not a bad adaptation. I've actually heard that this is considered by many critics to be one of the best adaptations of a Lovecraft story. There are several out there that are quite popular, but this one is considered one of the most successful. So, that being said, and I think that the one for Color Out of Space, which I did a review on, check that one out, I think it was a pretty good adaptation too, one of the best I've seen. So, if you're interested in the movie, because I've already talked about the story, how you can read it or listen to it, you can find it on DVD, and I think there might even be an old DVD that has it as a double feature with something else. You can find it on Blu-ray. I think Shop Factory does that, and I think it's done as a double feature with Murder in the Rue Morgue. Excuse me. And you can also get it on Amazon streaming. I actually had it checked. I had this checked out on Netflix. It's not available on Netflix, and I don't think it's available on Hulu that I know of anyway. So, and it's not here on YouTube either. There is someone on YouTube that posted something that said it was this movie from this year. It's not. It was Murder in the Rue Morgue. So, it was the double feature from the Blu-ray. So, you cannot watch this on, and you can't even rent it from YouTube because it's not available. So, you can rent it from Amazon, streaming on Amazon, that is. You can find it on Blu-ray, and you can find it on DVD. So, there was something else I was going to say. Oh, yes. This story also, interesting little connection here. Dark Shadows, the Gothic television series from the 1960s and early 1970s, which I have done a video introduction on that, and done a review for one of the books. That was my last review. The last one I did before this. They did a storyline called, it was the Leviathan storyline, where these ancient people had basically kidnapped Barnabas Collins and brainwashed him, and he brought their leader from the past into the present day, 1970, the same year that this movie came out. And they kind of did their own kind of Dunwich Horror, because they had their Leviathan leader, when he was released out into the world. There is a thing where, there's room in an antique shop being, boarded up, and they're possibly building onto it. It's been a while since I've watched that. Possibly building stuff onto it and stuff, and there's an unseen force that you never see, but some of the audience, not the audience, the characters do, and it absolutely terrifies them. And so they did a whole Lovecraftian storyline with the Leviathan people. So, and that was not one of the more favored Dark Shadows storylines. I wasn't a big fan of it. So, but they did borrow a lot of the Cthulhu mythos for it, and a lot of H.P. Lovecraft for that. So, anyway, that is my review for H.P. Lovecraft's The Dunwich Horror and the movie version from 1970. I don't know when my next review will be. I don't have one planned now. I have several things to review, but I don't have anything planned in particular. Sometime this month, I'm planning on doing a video on Vincent Price, kind of as a tribute thing, not so much a review, because his birthday is later this month, and I usually watch a number of his films as kind of a celebration of him. He's my favorite actor. And I might do some videos that are themed to next month with LGBT Pride Month, so I'll cover a little bit of that. That'll be kind of a, special video as well. But review-wise, I'm not really sure what I have planned. I think I have a textbook I'm actually going to review. Well, it was something we used as a textbook in one of my classes, so. But anyway, please follow me on Instagram and Twitter. You can find out what I'm reading, what I'm up to, whatever. Especially on Instagram. Not as much on Twitter, but a little bit. Also, please check out my author page that's on Amazon. And if you'd like to buy my book, The Curse of Ridge House, it is available on Amazon, both Kindle and paperback editions. The Kindle is only $2.99. I'm also on BookBub right now, but I still don't have the link. I need to get the link for that. I'm on also Goodreads, which actually, I want to tell you something on BookBub. They put my book up on there, but they put the wrong name. They have the cover and stuff, and it has my name on the cover, but who they listed as the author was the wrong author, and they put the wrong bio there, so that it's not my bio, and not my name. So, I'm trying to get that fixed. But you can find it on both places. You can find it on BookBub and Goodreads and stuff. So, anyway, if you'd like to buy my book, it's on Amazon. Also, please check out the official Facebook page for my book, The Curse of Ridge House, and please hit like on that. And I'm also on Wattpad. You can read some of my poetry, some of my short stories that are horror stories, and they're really, really short. There's several on there. And the first 2 chapters of my book, The Curse of Ridge House. So, yeah. So check me out on there and follow me on there as well. And without any more further ado, oh yes, by the way, tomorrow is Star Wars Day. So if you're a Star Wars fan, you'll probably be watching Star Wars. So, anyway, may the 4th be with you tomorrow, and have a great day. If it's rainy, stay dry. If it's sunny, get out and enjoy that sunshine. Maybe even go out on your patio or your porch or out in your garden or out in your yard, sit and read maybe a good book, go for a walk, do some gardening. If it's rainy, stay inside and read. Reading's a good thing right now. It takes us to places when we can't go there. So, anyway, bye-bye.